Just this past August, my cousin Mayon got married. And so for the entire summer, the duplex where the mother of the bride lives, my aunt, with her brother, my uncle, and my Lola, my grandma, it has been all hands on deck. My Uncle Benji, he's officiating the wedding, and so he's been toggling between a thesaurus and ChatGPT just so he can come up with the perfect speech. And I'm asked to spend a few nights over there so that I can be there to take care of my Lola, so that the mother of the bride, my aunt, can leave and take care of Mayon, the bride, who has been just manically putting together her dream wedding ever since she got engaged 2 years ago. And so one night I'm over there and mother of the bride comes back in and she is just exhausted after a particularly grueling day of putting together 200 and something wedding favors. But we still end up talking late into the night, talking about how hard Mayon has been working and how stressed she is trying to make everything just right. And yeah, my aunt is a little bit worried, but she knows, or she hopes, that in a few weeks, when everyone in our family gets to see how beautiful it all is, that all of those sleepless nights will be totally worth it. And knowing Mayon, I do not doubt that the table settings will be equal parts classic and whimsical. The floral arrangements will be traditional and yet fresh, and the lighting, celebratory but intimate. And I'm thinking, wow, I am so happy for her. She's really gonna have her dream wedding. And so what a shame it is that I'm gonna ruin it. Let me clarify, I love my cousin Mayon. I love her so much. She is the closest thing that I have to a sister. And when we were kids, we used to spend the entire summer coming up with dance routines to the Shrek 2 soundtrack and pranking our Lola. And so, believe me, I don't want to ruin anything. It's just that I have this thing that I do. I can't help it, but I just have this habit of making things weird, of taking up too much space, being too loud, doing too much, of doing something that pulls focus so that all the eyes are on me. Like a few years ago, I got this admin job at Concordia. I was helping to run this summer program. It was really like behind the scenes stuff. But on the last day of the program, I'm there and I'm hearing all the students saying their goodbyes to each other, and they're talking about how much they've learned, and they're exchanging contact information, and it just reminds me of how much I loved being a student, and I miss that. And the next thing I know, I am just sobbing on the floor, effectively ruining a moment that I know is supposed to be about them. And it's not simply that I'm overly emotional. Take, for instance, the time I was introducing my boyfriend to the rest of my family, and my aunts and my uncles, they're saying things like, wow, you guys make such a beautiful couple. You seem like such a great fit. And I know I should leave it at that. But instead, what comes out of my mouth is, I'm really only in it for his fat dick. Am I right, Lola? Yeah, I'm sick in the head, I know. So it would be fair to say that I crave attention. My therapist says that has something to do with my inner child and her need to feel seen. But I really like how this one book put it. I read a book once, and it called this sort of thing, the idle slop-over of one's soul. Isn't that beautiful? The idle slop-over of one's soul. And even though I can get hard for alliteration, I know that Mayon's dream wedding is no place for any slop-over of any kind. And so I spend the weeks leading up to the wedding mentally preparing myself for 12 hours of group festivities in which I am not going to call any attention to myself whatsoever. This is not about me. This is about Mayon. And I don't buy waterproof mascara because I tell myself I am not allowed to cry during the ceremony, lest I emote too loudly, tempting people sitting in the front row to turn away from the altar so they can see what kind of animal it was that just crashed this wedding. I'm not gonna dance at the reception. What if everyone else is dancing? Okay, I'm not gonna be the first person on the dance floor, and I also won't be the last person on the dance floor, because both of those things have the potential to be memorable, and at my cousin's wedding, I cannot be memorable. A couple weeks out, I start to worry that the vibrant lime green of the dress that I picked out, it might just be a little bit jarring against the whatever color palette the venue has. And so I go like a little bit crazy trying to find the right hair accessory. Like I buy headbands and claw clips and bobby pins. I buy so many different decorative bobby pins because I'm hoping I find something that can just like neutralize the quirkiness of my dress so that I can fit in, so that I look like I belong with everything. The big day rolls around, and a bunch of us are getting ready at my dad's house. And while I'm getting dressed, I am telling myself, Mayon's wedding is not about me. Mayon's wedding is not about me. Mayon's wedding is about me. And I'm so focused on taking in this mantra that I missed the call for a family photo before we have to go to the wedding venue. And we get to the ceremony, and it is like what I imagined, except so much more beautiful and elegant. And I tell myself I'm not allowed to be too expressive during the ceremony, right? I don't want to get any attention. And so I have practiced 2 facial expressions that I allow myself to use. There's awe, and then the other facial expression is emotionally touched. Just gonna do that. There's one brief moment during the vow exchange when I have to throw my head back and just will the tears that have started to form back into my eyelids. But I do it. I get through the whole thing. I don't have any outbursts of any kind. I don't make any off-the-cuff remarks. And it's just when we're leaving the ceremony area to go into the dining area that I hear something familiar. It's the string quartet. They're covering Accidentally in Love by Counting Crows, which just so happens to be track 1 on the Shrek 2 soundtrack. And it's like everything that I've been trying so hard to keep down, it starts bubbling up, and I just want to jump and scream and be like, oh my God, hey, everyone, you know that person that we just saw get married, that beautiful, perfect angel princess? That's my cousin! Like, I know her. I've, like, grown up with her, and she is amazing. And the Shrek 2 soundtrack is amazing. And if you like dance routines, well, let me tell you, no, lock it down. I'm gonna lock it down, lock it down. Lock it down! And I zip it, and I tell myself that the next time I open my mouth tonight, better just be to put food in it. So we make our way to the dining room, the big banquet hall, we find our assigned seats, and everyone starts to marvel at the personalized matchbooks that say, Mayon and Vu, the perfect match. And people start, the couple comes in, people start clinking their glasses, like, kiss, kiss, and then a voice comes on in the sound system. It's the MC, and he tells us that the bride and groom have made a very special request tonight. They don't want us to be clinking our glasses, because it was a very hefty deposit, but so if we want them to kiss, what we have to do is serenade them with a song. And before the MC has even finished his sentence, I feel myself being Svengali'd over to the front of the room, walking towards the bride and groom. And I'm thinking, I'm not making everything about me. I am merely responding to an invitation. It's their wedding day. It would be rude not to. And besides, I only need to serenade the bride and groom. No one else is forced to watch this. And that's when a microphone stand gets placed right in front of me. And I look at the bride and groom, and I look at the sea of wedding guests, and I see lots of really good faces for awe. Really good. And I'm thinking, God damn it, I did it again. I made things all about me. But I can't back down now, because I know that if there's anything worse than an impromptu performance, it's an impromptu performance where the performer visibly hates themselves, which is very much how I am feeling, but I've made my bed, now I have to sing in it. Do 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 do. Gotta make the move to the town that's right for me. And I don't think anyone else knows that Funky Town is actually track 5 on the Shrek 2 soundtrack. But they know the words because they start singing along with me. Gotta keep me moving, keep me grooving with some energy. And so I make my way to the end of the first verse. That's all I can do. And then I make a beeline back to my seat. And even though I'm smiling because I know it's a wedding, I'm supposed to be happy, on the inside I am so mad at myself. Like, oh my God, can I not just go one day without doing something to get attention? What is wrong with me? And I see my dad coming towards me, and I brace myself for him to say something like, oh my Franny, why do you gotta do that? But that's not what he says. Instead he goes, dude, that was awesome! You got the party started! And he points, and I see that a small line has now started to form over by the microphone stand. And so for the next hour, people are coming up, and they're serenading the bride and groom. People are waving to me across the room and giving me thumbs up. And so, you know, it's there, sitting, listening to everyone sing, that I realize, yeah, I took up space tonight. But in taking up space, I also made room for other people to feel things in the same big way that I do. And so while everyone is singing, I'm focused on the bride and groom, because in between kisses, I'm looking at the look on their faces, and it's a look of emotionally moved, but like real, genuine emotionally moved. And that's how I know that this is exactly the wedding they dreamed of.
To a town that's right for me. Gotta keep me grooving, keep me moving with some energy. Well, I talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Talk about it, talk about moving. Take me to Funky Town. Won't you take me to Funky Town? Won't you take me to? Won't you take me to Funky Town? take me to Funky Town? Gotta make a move to a town that's right for me. Time to keep me moving, keep me grooving with some energy. Well, I talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Talk about moving. Gotta move on. Gotta move on. Gotta move on. Won't you take me to? Won't you take me to Funky Town? Won't you take me to Funky Town? Won't you take me to Funky Town?